Some aspects of life are under our control while others are beyond our influence. Our thoughts, preferences, desires, and aversions, essentially everything linked to our actions, are within our reach. In contrast, things like our physical bodies, wealth, reputation, and authority, essentially everything unrelated to our actions, are outside our power. This is the foundation of the manual by the respected Greek philosopher. To lead a fulfilling life with inner serenity, one must distinguish between what can be managed and what cannot. Our responsibility is to focus our efforts on the manageable and disregard the beyond. One of the most significant challenges for humans pertains to the opinions and judgments of others. It's almost inevitable to be swayed, positively or negatively, by external viewpoints. To resist this influence, it is crucial to recognize that the judgments of others, insults, or personal attacks are outside our control. In the Life Guide, we find strategies for dealing with insults. Thus, the aim of this video is to extract the wisdom from the renowned Life Manual to achieve a mental state that minimizes or eliminates suffering from external judgments. Through 7 principles derived from Epictetus's guide, you will understand why you shouldn't be concerned with external judgments and how to reach a state where opinions cannot harm you. Provocations or offenses. When someone provokes you, remember that your own judgment is initially disturbed. Strive not to be swayed by appearances because, with time and composure, it becomes easier to maintain self-control. The key to not caring about others' opinions is understanding that an insult or offense is not inherently harmful. The emotional distress that comes with an insult depends on how we handle it. When someone belittles or disrespects you, realize that the insult only harms you if you allow it. If you react negatively, a person's worth should be measured by their ability to endure negativity. Life often unfolds this way. When insulted or offended, ask yourself if you want to win or lose. Do you want to surrender to the uncontrollable? Drawing a parallel with Stoicism and desires, resisting external judgments is not about battling them because they won't disappear. The difference lies in how you deal with the desire, whether you give in to it or ignore it. If you can remain unruffled by insults, the satisfaction you experience afterward will elevate you as a person capable of steadfastly progressing in adversity. You may remember moments when a negative comment deeply affected you, despite your efforts. I understand your feeling because we've all been there. If this is your situation, keep watching because the following principles will address self-control. Maintain steadfast purposes. To remain unaffected by others' opinions, prepare yourself to be ridiculed and endure the crowd's mockery from the start. If your goal is to pursue philosophy, be ready to hear remarks like, "Suddenly, he thinks he's a philosopher," or "Where does this arrogance come from?" Do not adopt this arrogance and remain resolute in endeavors that contribute to your well-being. Remember that by staying firm, the same people who once mocked you will eventually admire you. If you let others sway your purpose, you'll face ridicule twice. This principle, proposed by the Greek philosopher, applies to various aspects of life. This is crucial because many people forsake their true talents to appease dissenting voices. Epictetus emphasizes that allowing our purpose to be influenced by others' opinions results in failure, not because we couldn't succeed, but because we succumbed to their judgments. Rather than interpreting this as failure, view it as a significant issue. When one yields to avoid social conflict or to prevent others from forming opinions about them, it's worthwhile to persevere, even if mockery or questioning persists for a while. Ultimately, as you progress, you'll align with your own nature. When making life decisions, I recommend contemplating this. Consider your priorities and understand the genuine reasons behind your choices. Disregard, harm. Don't fret if someone speaks ill of you. Don't let the fear of living with dishonor or being insignificant trouble you, because if a lack of honors were detrimental, then others would have the power to make us unhappy, and this isn't how things operate. In reality, you are significant only in matters within your control and dependent on your choices. This principle remains profoundly relevant in contemporary times. How often have you acted against your true desires to gain someone's approval, especially on social media? The pursuit of social validation on these platforms can be toxic. Ask yourself, is it worthwhile to alter your genuine self to attain momentary satisfaction? Is it prudent to entrust your emotional well-being to others' opinions? My response is a resounding no. Reflect on this, as we have all been in situations where we did something that embarrassed us but was not malicious. So, why worry if people laugh at you or diminish your popularity? Do you genuinely believe your happiness hinges on your popularity? Living this way perpetuates constant conflict because your happiness remains beyond your reach, leading to perpetual tension as you compromise your true essence. A fundamental aspect of Stoicism is caring solely about what you can control and remaining indifferent to what you cannot. Regarding insults, remember that no one can harm you unless you allow it. If someone harms or belittles you, understand that they act based on their own perception of correctness. It is unrealistic to expect universal agreement with what you consider right when they view things differently. Therefore, if someone judges you based on a false facade, it's their misunderstanding. Thus, exercise patience when faced with insults and remind yourself that these judgments are simply their viewpoints. Exercise control over offenses. As Epictetus advocated, we should safeguard our minds as we protect our bodies. You likely wouldn't allow a stranger to enter your home daily, recognizing the potential threat. However, when you perceive an insult and interpret it as an offense, you permit that person to enter your mind and linger for days. In essence, you let strangers infiltrate your mind while you'd never allow them into your home. To reach a state where you can dismiss the negative emotions stemming from an offense, cultivate discipline and self-control. Apply this approach to all life situations, including family matters. When you feel anger, manage that emotion, as it will prevent needless suffering and enhance your inner peace. This practice will significantly alter your life. Act according to your conscience. We should not feel ashamed of being observed while acting in line with our principles, even if others might form misconceptions. If we act correctly, we shouldn't fear misjudgment from others. This also applies to our use of social media, where we frequently tie our happiness to popularity and external validation, causing us to act to please others rather than follow our genuine path. Disregard ill speaking. When someone harms you or speaks ill of you, understand that they do so believing they are right. It is unrealistic to expect everyone to share your perspective. Such an expectation is naive. Therefore, if they pass judgment based on a false facade, they are harming themselves through their misjudgment. In line with these principles, exercise patience in the face of those who judge you. In each such instance, repeat to yourself, "No one can harm you." This seventh principle delves into the motivation behind insults. It reminds us that we cannot anticipate everyone sharing our viewpoint or worldview. Such thinking is unrealistic. We must consider this reflection. Is it truly viable to assume that everyone perceives things the same way you do? Thinking in such a manner is overly simplistic. Therefore, when someone insults you, believing they know the truth about you, consider the following. You understand who you are, your thoughts, your reasons for action, and your motivations. You are the only one with a deep knowledge of the truth about yourself. Thus, when faced with an insult or harm from a stranger, ask yourself, did I act incorrectly? If the answer is no, then consider, Can I enter their mind and understand the reasons behind the insult? Clearly, you cannot. Therefore, if you acted rightly and face ignorance about the motivation behind the insult, take solace in the fact that you are the person who knows yourself best in the world. When you've acted correctly, there's no need to carry the burden of regret. As Epictetus said concerning those who insult you, that's how it seemed to them. In conclusion, I'd like to end with this lesson from Epictetus. For how long will you delay recognizing your worthiness of the highest improvements and following the teachings of the philosophers you've read or heard? You have received these teachings. What more do you need when you're equipped to better yourself? You're no longer a child but a mature adult. If you're negligent and procrastinate, continually postponing, making one excuse after another, and putting off attending to yourself, you won't make progress. Instead, you'll regress. First and foremost, maintain a steadfast and clear understanding of what things truly are. Then, once you comprehend what each thing is and its actual value, you'll have the full power to avoid indolence. You won't be swayed by the appearances and beliefs that deceive the many, keeping you small and miserable. What are your thoughts on the video? Please share your opinions in the comment section. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and explore the other content available on the channel.